Hey guys, welcome to the month of May 2023 and the astrology associated with it. This is probably going to be honestly like a pretty life-changing month. We are at a breakthrough point, a very transitional moment. We've been talking about this, how this 2023 year is all about endings, all about beginnings, all about some very profound and personalized transformations and transitions. A lot of us are starting something like brand new right now and simultaneously detaching ourselves from something else, closing some doors, ending some chapters. And this month, this whole month of May, honestly, is really kind of encapsulating this dynamic transition energy that this entire 2023 year kind of expresses. And so there's likely to be some very big life-changing moments or events that play out throughout the course of this month of May, and tensions are likely to be running high. This is probably a very intense period of time as well. There could be some huge revelations and secrets revealed and hidden truths and like core root issues that we are gaining an awareness of that is really causing some major shakeups and changes. But this is also like the month of perhaps some very big shakeups, unexpected changes of events, okay, turns of events and realignments going on. It's a lot. We've got a lot of very Mars-oriented energy as well. One of the primary activations that is characterizing a lot of the energy this month, especially the second half of this month, has to do with Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, and the nodes, all in aspect to each other and harsh aspect to each other as well. So, we're breaking through impediments that have held us back in the past. There could be a lot of clashes of wills going on. There could be a lot of things coming to a head. There could be a lot of like power plays and people vying for power or vying for the stage or like the place of prominence, perhaps, like in one way or another. But things are definitely changing. We are at the tipping point, and there's just a lot to talk about in this report, in this overview of our month of May. We are going to be looking at the energy week by week, of course, the first week through the fourth week, and the aspects that are coming through that particular week, what we may be able to expect energetically, our energetic weather report for each week. And then I'll do sort of, a summary of everything that we have coming up and what it all, I feel like, is heading towards as we exit the month of May and we move into June. But like overall, to start this report, I feel like just some themes, some basic themes that this energy, this moment in time, this month is likely to be representing and unfolding into, again, life-changing moments. Like I said, just a major theme of this energy we have coming up: unexpected shifts, unexpected realignments, possible collapse, breakdown, implosion of things that are blocking growth, value, and potential. So this is the end, you guys. Anywhere where we've sort of been banging our head against a wall, trying to make something happen, or what we've been putting our effort and energy into up until this point in time, where we've been blocked or limited or restricted, or where we haven't been able to move forward, like this is breaking through the impediments, the limitations that have been holding us back, and in that process perhaps causing a lot of change or experiencing a lot of change, but also going through this massive transformation as a result of that, and really like realigning with the truth of some serious core value, like I said. So possibly collapses, but also this rebirth process, these cascading endings and beginnings, this transitional point in time that is very much characterized by the nature of the energy coming throughout the course of our entire 2023, which we've been talking about. Energy, ambition, and desire to act are likely to be very high. While we do have this energy that is quite intense and conflict provoking and could be definitely bringing things to a head, there's also this like internal sense of motivation and belief in ourselves and feeling that we can do it and that we are ready to move forward, and like personal motivation and just feeling of like internalized faith that we have the strength, we have the wisdom, we have the ability to like fight the fight or persevere through or burn whatever it is that needs to come down so that we can really start rebuilding and going in this new direction. A lot of things may also seem a bit out out of our control throughout the course of this period of time. There are things happening that may just seem like they are bigger than us right now, and we're just kind of being swept along in the wake. And that is because, there is a cosmic blueprint that is playing out right now, transitioning us into the age of Aquarius. There is just a very, very, very strong nodal activation with this grand cross that's playing out, and we're going to talk about that. Like I said, we have Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, and the nodes in a grand cross closing out essentially the last 2 weeks of the month of May, and this is huge. To me, this is another thing, and we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, but Jupiter hits 0 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter enters Taurus this month of May. What's going on at 0 degrees of Aquarius? Pluto's at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius, of course, being the sign that is associated with the age of Aquarius, Jupiter being expansion and truth, moving to the sign of Taurus. This is a big square between Jupiter and Pluto, and I think that this also is one of the energies that is contributing perhaps to some of the breakdowns and breakthroughs on these financial value-based levels. Moving through this month. So we've got that going on. I do think there's also a potential this month for some very, very powerful storms, water and fire specifically, deluge, flood, tsunami, but also tornado, earthquakes, and fires. I'll talk about why as we get through this report. Breaking through internal limitations, also taking back personal power, fighting for power, and a self versus collective theme kind of could be coming up as well. Like what I need to do for myself in the context of like what the overall whole thinks that, everything should do for the overall whole. So there could be sort of like self versus others, self versus whole themes coming up, and people just really, really, really inspired to fight for their place in the sun, or to fight for their personal power, or to fight to be seen, or fight to be heard, or fight to be recognized or respected. All of this and more. So that being said, life-changing month, like I said, let's start with week 1. Let's break down this energy now. We're kind of wading into it, okay? Week 1 and week 2, although we do have this full moon lunar eclipse coming up the first week of May, lower in intensity, okay, than the last couple of weeks. Now, week 1, we actually start out May with some very, very busy energy. May 1st, we have a Mercury retrograde Sun cazimi. Mercury is retrograding back into conjunction, exact conjunction with the Sun. So May 1st to start this month of May, and indicating, perhaps kind of what's coming at us throughout the whole month of May. It's likely to be a very busy month. Lots of information, lots of people talking to you, lots of communication coming through, lots of places to go, people to see, conversations, meetings, schedules, lists, back and forth, this, that, and the other, interpersonal stuff, interpersonal dynamics, news, information, media, lots of news, very busy news cycle to start off. And this could also be gaining insight, gaining clarity into things. Now, when Mercury is in a close conjunction to the Sun, this is also known as Mercury being combust, Mercury being burned in the rays of the Sun, not having necessarily the full insight or the full clarity on a situation, especially with Mercury retrograde as well. Mercury is going retrograde. We are, rediscovering things and reassessing things and, gaining a new perspective and making perhaps like gaining some other options or alternatives or choices. But when Mercury and the Sun come into their exact alignment together, this is called cazimi, Mercury Sun cazimi, and it is said to be a moment where we have the opportunity to gain some maybe profound insight or some clarity or some greater levels of understanding into something. So that is very possible in the energy as we start this week. There just could be an emphasis on where we got to go, what we got to do, lots of conversations going back and forth, but also perhaps gaining this clarity, gaining this insight, gaining this perspective, gaining like a crucial or necessary piece of information that changes context for us in some way, that helps us to maybe make a different choice or reassess something. There's also a huge energy in regards to changing tastes, changing preferences, changing desires, makeovers also, or just like redesigning things, redoing things. So very strong Mercury retrograde emphasis. Of course, communication, misunderstandings, like things lost in translation. We want to double check things. We want to make sure that we are practicing active listening and just that we are, you know, saying what we mean to be saying, double check details, and just make sure, you know, because things can get a bit scrambled, like our brains aren't necessarily working that great. You know, you can just mix things up, or so just double check things. Very Mercury oriented day to start the week on May 1st, and just this week generally. And also because it's May 1st, I feel like this is kind of going to apply to just a very busy month. Okay, lots of news, lots of information. Another thing that we have going on week 1 is Venus coming into a square with Neptune in mutable signs. Venus is in the sign of Gemini, and Neptune is in the sign of Pisces. We're going to want to be careful, especially with the Mercury combust retrograde energy with the sun in the sign of Taurus, okay? Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus in a square to Neptune. I would not sign deals and contracts or make commitments or get into committed relationships or really honestly take too seriously anything that anybody is saying in the energy on for the first week of May. I would be very skeptical about things. We have a tendency to kind of be seeing things through rose-colored glasses. People have a tendency to be like projecting like the very best version of things that doesn't necessarily pan out that way. Relationships, deals, agreements, financial-based stuff, work partnerships and stuff like that started in this energy can have a tendency to end in some type of disappointment or to just not fully come into fruition. Neptune breaks things down. Neptune dissolves things. When we're talking about Venus, this is love. This is money. This is, you know, it's also fantasies, like people talking a really, really good game. This is like silver tongue, you know what I mean? But it doesn't necessarily like pan out into anything real. It never ends up happening. It just sort of like fades and dissolves away. And if you get too attached to it, or if you put too much, like, you know, if you sign that deal or if you sign that agreement or if you get yourself into a situation that you can't really get out of, it's just likely to lead to some type of disappointment. The way that this is coming together, especially, again, is the Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Taurus right now. Partnerships, partnerships, projects, resources, material possessions, things that we're building and working on, like all types of financial agreements, that type of stuff. Just be very, very careful. And again, like things may sound too good to be true in the energy this week, so don't necessarily buy it and don't get disappointed. You know, this is actually a good energy to see if we can kind of like maybe see through some of the maybe false presentations or false pretenses that people might be projecting, because we do have this very big full moon that is also a lunar eclipse that is with the South Node that is in a conjunction to Uranus and Taurus that is also happening this first week alongside the Neptune-Venus square. And this is about soul purge, okay? This is about these sudden endings. This is about like suddenly releasing ourselves from something. It really could have to do with like, you know, don't be surprised if like a partnership or a work-related situation or a financial situation or even a relationship or something like suddenly ends in this energy. If it does happen, I'm telling you, like it's ultimately for the best, and it is part of a process of actually like removing something that had been a block or hindrance to your own soul growth in one way or another, if something like that comes about in this energy. But, you know, the South Node, this is about karmic release, is about karmic endings. We've been talking about this a lot. This past 2 new moon and Aries cycles has had a lot to do with this energy of karmic release, like fresh new beginnings that we've been putting our energy into, that we've been working towards, and that we've been trying to get going, but also needing to come to a point of like leaving some things in the past, shutting the door, releasing some things. And a lot of this could have to do with some like ingrained attitudes or beliefs about ourselves, or like emotional patterns that we've been holding within that have been working against our own growth as well. So again, this full moon in the sign of Scorpio, you know, with the South Node, has a lot to do with this soul purge, with this karmic release, with the letting go of some of these maybe like toxic attachments or feelings or psychological complexes from the past that have been blocking or hindering our growth in any type of a way. But it is in a conjunction and opposition to Uranus. So this is also like perhaps some type of an awakening, some type of an epiphany that's coming through, or just a radical change, a sudden ending, unexpected, this, that, or the other. likely to be related to value, worth, money, resources, attachments, enmeshments with others, relationships, partnerships, those type of things. So that's really kind of what we're looking at for this first week of the month of May. And Venus will also be entering into the sign of Cancer. So this will soften things a little bit. I do feel like this is a positive for relationships because we also have Mars in the sign of Cancer as well. So Venus will be joining Mars in the sign of Cancer. This could also be like positive for things going on in the home, things going on to do with the family. This could help family dynamics to be more cohesive going forward, and it's just tempering things out a little bit. So that's really what we have going on this first week of the month of May. Moving into the second week of the month of May, this is our yearly Sun-Uranus conjunction happening in the sign of Taurus right now because that's where Uranus is. Expect the unexpected, likely again to be financial, resource, partnership, project, work, something, abundance, security, material possessions, like based around something like that. Sudden endings, again, Venus makes an exact sextile to the south, or an exact trine to the south node the second week, while we have the Sun Uranus conjunction in the sign of Taurus, Venus ruling the sign of Taurus. So there could definitely be some like unexpected endings, again, like to these partnerships or to these work financial situations. We've also got Jupiter at 29 degrees of Aries the second week of May. This is also significant. 29, this is a critical degree. This is huge energy, okay? And this is the energy that's coming through that is giving us this like expanded sense of self-belief and trust in ourselves to like pursue and follow our passions, to take a risk. Like I was saying earlier, you know, there's this like inherent sense of like, I can do it. Like I believe in myself. I have faith in myself. I'm trusting my judgment. Like I'm going to take a risk. Like I have courage. I have the faith. I'm going to fight for, you know, what's right for me. I'm going to fight for something new. I'm going to fight for something different. That's all because of Jupiter at this 29 degrees of Aries mark. This expanded hope, courage, faith, trust, confidence, truth also at the 29th degree. This is like the full spectrum of energy, right? This is just a very expansive Aries vibe. Like I believe in myself. I am going to take a risk. I have the courage. I have the passion. I have the motivation. Like I'm setting out. I'm doing something new. This is like very, very powerful, expansive, passionate, forward moving, like self-assertion, independent also type of energy. So I'm doing it. I'm setting out on my own. I'm taking a risk. Like I'm having faith. I trust myself. I know I can do this, and I'm willing to fight for this change, for this transition, for this new beginning. We also have Mercury stationing direct the second week of the month of May, and Mercury will be stationing direct in a conjunction to the North Node. More of this like faded realizations, understandings, encounters, meetings, interpersonal dynamics, opportunities also in the sign of Taurus to maybe like make money or to work on a new project or to like a good financial partnership type of opportunity could be coming through. And this could very much be related also to things ongoing with the Sun-Uranus conjunction that we have that week as well. And the second week, we also have Mars now beginning to move into a trine with Neptune between the sign of Cancer, the sign of Pisces. This is an energy that I think could be bringing some storms and some of this like deluge, big rain, just type of energy, like tsunamis or just like very powerful rainstorms or like flooding and stuff like that. I think we could see definitely like the end of the second week moving into the third week of May. But generally, week 2, I think this is going to be a week of like unexpected news, surprises, changes, realignments, and perhaps some chaos as well. And again, maybe like some storms. The hand of God, very, very active in this second week in a very big energy, okay? Jupiter at this 29th degree and about to also be coming into the exact square with Pluto. Jupiter is in a square with Pluto as we're moving through the second week, but the squares are out of It's an out of element, out of sign square. Jupiter is at the last degree of the sign of Aries, while Pluto is at the first degree of the sign of Aquarius. The square won't be like in element or in the signs until Jupiter hits 0 degrees of Taurus, which is the fixed sign, which squares Aquarius, Pluto at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So, we're building into it, but this is just a very, very high, perhaps, level of energy. People are probably going to be not taking no for an answer, I would imagine, and maybe just doing some very like ballsy, out of the ordinary things. Expect people to be acting very strange, okay, this second week, and just not necessarily behaving along the lines of like typical behavior, what you're used to getting from people. Moving into this third week, we do move into this exact Mars-Neptune trine. Again, this is this, you know, it's just the facilitation between this energy, right? This powerful, forceful energy, unrestrained kind of. Mars in the sign of Cancer, water, right? And Neptune, Lord of the Seas, in the sign of Pisces, in his own domain. There could just be some powerful or some angry water type events that are going on, even like bursting pipes or like leaks. And so just stuff with water. Maybe be careful around water. It isn't the square, you know, it is the trine, but trines do facilitate things. And that's why I'm saying this is just like a strong facilitation of energy and water. So there you go. Great for hydraulics. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, then we also, the third week of May, have Jupiter entering the sign of Taurus. Farewell so long to Jupiter in Aries. We now have Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. That is putting Jupiter at this 0 degree of the fixed sign. And it's also putting Jupiter into this exact square with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Jupiter's entrance into the sign of Taurus is also putting him within a very close conjunction proximity to the North Node. So here we go, this third week with the nodes really, really getting their activation. Of course, we also had Mercury stationed direct in a conjunction with the North Node in the second week, but now we've got Jupiter moving into proximity. Jupiter expands things. We're gonna wanna watch it this week, you guys. While this third week, we don't want to take things over the top. If we feel ourselves being like compulsively or obsessively driven to do something, we want to just try to make sure that we are, you know, coming from that we're operating in some type of conscious capacity, okay? Because there could just be some like really strong gut instincts or just like internal drives, like compelling and propelling what we have going on, our behavior, how we're acting, like the circumstances and situations. And we don't want to just let it take us necessarily. Because we're talking about the North Node. This is an energy, neither of the nodes are traditionally known as like beneficial, very, very positive planets. The North Node is about growth. It's the destiny point, but it's like growth that we're not choosing, okay? Like this is our soul growth that we don't necessarily have that much of a conscious level of say over. And then the South Node, this is the karma, okay, that we are having to experience and clear in our soul's trajectory of growth. So both of these things can be sort of like uncomfortable and not necessarily the most peaceful, positive experiences. And they're just going to be, over this last couple weeks of the month of April, very lit up. Like Jupiter, there's no boundaries, there's no limits. This is the overflow. This is the ultimate expansion. This is just extreme growth in an unrestrained way. So we just don't want to let ourselves get out of control, okay? I think that's what I'm trying to say, especially this last 2 weeks coming into the month of May. We are also going to be having our new moon in Taurus occurring the third week of the month of May. Of course, Jupiter is going to be in a square with Pluto for our new moon. We are also gonna have Mars in an opposition to Pluto, although it is out of sign for the new moon. But the very next day after the new moon, Mars also, you guys, moves to 0 degrees of Leo. Mars enters Leo. So we're setting up a scenario coming in this third week of the month of May where we have, and remember, 0 is a critical degree and it's an explosive degree. It's the origin point. There's no, like, planets at 0 degrees have not like learned the lesson of that sign yet. So it's just like a bombastic, like, spark, okay, of that energy. And we're going to have Pluto 0 degrees of Aquarius, Jupiter 0 degrees of Taurus, Mars 0 degrees of Aries, or of Leo. These are all fixed signs as well. This is very intense, powerful, regenerative, transformative, breakdown oriented, and also expansion oriented T-square and energy that is coming into play. And then simultaneously this third week, we're also going to be having the sun entering the sign of Gemini. So we've got another planet therefore moving at 0 degrees, and 0 degrees of the sign of Gemini with the sun will trine Pluto. So we've got this fixed T-square of planets, Pluto, Mars, Jupiter at 0 degrees, and then the sun coming in, forming also the trine to Pluto in air signs at 0 degrees. So this third week of the month of May, we're in a whole month that is really hard to call, expect the unexpected, but I feel like, honestly, like, this is the breakdown point. Like, there could be like some financial or economic based like collapse that we see at this point in time. It's for the purpose of fixing things. I'm gonna tell you guys, this third week, the entire, this Pluto Jupiter square, it is very important that we are operating through the higher octaves of the Jupiter energy and not like operating through the lower octaves of the Pluto energy, okay? Any type of shady behavior or manipulation or coercion or deception, like, it's not probably going to lead to very blessed outcomes. This energy is trying to fix things on a root core level through exposing the inner workings of what hasn't been working right. Pluto is what's hidden. Jupiter is the truth. It's the light. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. Jupiter is the god that's associated with like the great benefic, okay? This is like the greatest light source aside from the sun, of course, up against the greatest source of like shadows and things that are hidden and darkness. We're talking about truth, and we're talking about that which is hidden, secrets coming into conflict with each other. Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, all about, this transformation that we're going through is a transformation to a point of greater self-empowerment, but we're talking about Jupiter in the sign of Taurus, like the value, like an expanded sense of hidden value or something that we're discovering that is causing this massive internalized transformation that is causing us to take back power, and the earthquakes, okay, that creates, the ground shifts, the collapse of the previous ground that we've been standing on, or the matrix that has been built around us. Like, this is where we're at in this. Honesty, integrity, wisdom necessary at this point in time. Extreme growth, also extreme downfalls. Pluto is a planet, it's this phoenix energy. On one hand, it's this, it's the regeneration, it's the healing on these very deep and powerful levels, right? It's getting to the core of things, purifying, purging, regenerating, transforming, coming to such a greater level of evolution. On the other side, it's also the destruction. It's also the breakdown. It also is the purge process. It's also the darkness. It's also this ruthless, relentless, extreme just power in all of its forms. So Jupiter expands things. On one hand, we're going to see tremendous growth, okay? And on the other hand, we're going to see tremendous breakdown. I do think, in the context of this financial or economic or resource value based collapse or destruction or downfall or breakdown or breakthrough or whatever might be coming with this energy, I do think that this may also be indicating like cryptocurrency and stuff like that potentially having an expansion at this point in time. because we're talking about, you know, cryptocurrency. This is going to have to do with Aquarius. Pluto's in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. Wow, we've got the Taurus Jupiter square to the Pluto Aquarius square. Downfall of the old paradigm, the birth of something new, financial resource value-based systems. There may be a revaluation coming up, but I do think that there could just be some extreme lows and perhaps some extreme highs in financial oriented stuff that, again, may be happening in like cascading moments or one after the other, or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see, you guys, what we have coming at us, especially the second, moving into the third week of the month of May. Light versus darkness, also the individual versus the system. Huge fight for personal power. It's a breakdown or a breakthrough cycle, though, and things are getting fixed ultimately by this energy. Moving into week 4, we now are taking our T-square, right, that we had in these fixed signs, this fixed sign T-square with everything at 0 degrees, and we're turning it into a grand cross in fixed signs. And that's because as planets begin to move off the 0 degrees, they are now going to come into the more direct, exact alignments with the nodes who are in Taurus and Scorpio. At 4 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio, the North Node is also at the Chiron point. That is another theme of what we're going to be talking about this 3rd and 4th week of the months of May, in the context of all of this financial resource Taurus-based stuff that might be going on. The North Node is also at the Chiron point. This is the point in the sky where Chiron was discovered. This has also a lot to do with wealth and value, and also like wounding, healing, regenerating. So more of this indicated by the placement of the North Node, these themes. The pot of gold at the end, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That is the Sabian symbol where the North Node will be during this point in time. That is the Chiron point. So again, it's all about the restoration of true value. But what do we got to get rid of in order to rediscover or to realign with that which is truly representative of authentic value that we can really use to create, to stabilize, to build, to form, to beautify all these Taurus themes in a tangible, meaningful, material way moving forward. We are getting back to the truth of value in one way or another over this month of May. We also have Venus in a square to Chiron this 4th week, okay? This is more financial and relationship-based issues that could be coming through. Venus and Chiron are both planets that are very much financial, money oriented. And with Jupiter conjunct the North Node and Mars in a square to the North and the South nodes and an opposition to Pluto, this last week of this month of May is very, very much, again, talking about breakdowns and breakthroughs in terms of anything that has been blocking the trajectory of true growth and true value in alignment with authentic truth also at this point in time as we are moving right into this age of Aquarius. Both luminaries are going to be an aspect to Saturn the 4th week as well. This is focused energy on laying some new foundations, on, you know, getting some things structured or formed, or, you know, feeling responsibility. There's a level of seriousness that is definitely coming through the 4th week as well. 4th week of May, Jupiter is going to come into exact alignment with the North Node, and Mars will come into exact square with the nodes of the moon as well. So we just are going to have this grand cross that is going on, super powerful, between Jupiter and Taurus, Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, and the North and the South node in Taurus and Scorpio. Early degree fixed sign energy, you guys, or people with planets in early degrees of fixed signs. This could be a big one. I mean, it doesn't matter what sign it is. If you've got planets between 0 and 5 degrees of these fixed signs, the nodes are either conjoining, opposing, or squaring your planets. Jupiter is either conjoining, opposing, or squaring your planets. Mars and Pluto are either conjoining, opposing, squaring your planets. So, fixed signs, this is a more stubborn energy. This is more resistant energy as well. This is the changes that we haven't been able to make for ourselves, you guys. This is universe bringing the wrecking ball through. So what's, you know, it's like breaking through the exterior of that rock that is holding the diamond inside that we can't see because we haven't cracked through the surface yet or something like that. So it should be, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, this looks like a little bit of an intimidating month with all of this Pluto nodal, Mars Pluto opposition, fixed sign 0 degrees of Aquarius and Leo, Jupiter 0 degrees of Taurus nodes. We're in eclipse season 2, you know. So we're gonna get through it, guys. We're gonna hang in there. It's gonna be great. I mean, obviously, I do know that this is all leading in a good direction. I just think that we're there. Like, I think that, like, this is kind of like it. Like, again, there's been a lot of changes going on throughout the course of the past couple years, and I honestly think that a lot of those changes are leading up to these moments that we are moving towards experiencing right now. Again, exposing hidden things in some big and powerful ways, things collapsing, breaking down, imploding that are hindering authentic growth and potential. Life-changing events, you guys. Energy, ambitions, desire to act, running very high. This is a very high energy month. Mars square to Jupiter. We have this going on for like at least a week. Very, very heavy. This is at a very expansive energy level, Mars and square to Jupiter. Pluto and Jupiter in the square as well. This is also an expanded energy level. Mars opposing Pluto. This is also very powerful in the way that we're using our energy. Again, like, it's so big that it is kind of like giving that vibe of just like things that are bigger than us and things that are out of our control, and just these monumental moments in time, monumental moments in history. I do think that this is going to be a really big month. It'll be very interesting to see what unfolds. It's Uranus, expect the unexpected. So honestly, it's really impossible to call, but with all this Taurus energy, Jupiter moving to 0 degrees of the sign of Taurus and the square to Pluto and Aquarius, to me, this is bringing down any financial based anything that is out of alignment with authentic value or authentic potential, or that is blocking true growth in any type of way. So that's what I have to say, you guys. That's what I think we're dealing with for this month of May that we have coming at us. And, you know, of course, to start the month of May, the energy that we're in, as you're probably watching this video, if you're seeing it as it's coming out, this is the day of Mercury conjuncting the Sun, retrograde, Cazimi. So, you know, pay attention today. It's probably a real busy day, but pay attention to what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're overhearing, the information coming to you, you know, things that are flashing through your mind. Like, there is we're supported in gaining some insight, gaining some clarity, gaining some missing context perhaps. And again, like, just make sure that you're communicating properly and double checking things, because this Mercury retrograde energy is very strong right now. I'm going to grab us a synchronicity card, guys. Let's see what guidance God, universe, great spirit has for us throughout the month of May. What do we need to know about what is happening in May? And this card says, be yourself. And I do, again, like, Jupiter at 29 degrees of the sign of Aries, like, this is all about the breakthrough into alignment with like authentic truth and authentic value, and having the courage to make a choice to do what truly is in our best interest that maybe we were too scared to do in the past, or maybe we didn't believe in ourselves enough, or maybe we didn't like see our value or see our potential in a way that made us think it would be worth it somehow. But our guidance this month to remember is to be yourself. It's about, like I said, self-empowerment also is one of the ultimate outcomes of this life-changing process that we're in. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Philippians 2:3. You must remain free from pretension. Do not try to fool anyone, particularly yourself. With true understanding comes humility, and you will do all for the glory of God, and great and wonderful blessings will come to you. So again, that's what I was saying. Like, we have to stay on the Jupiterian side of this energy. Don't try to fool anyone. Don't try to manipulate anyone. Don't try to overpower anyone. We need to like maintain a sense of self-consciousness in terms of like guiding our behavior and our action in alignment with what we know is right and our higher selves and stuff like that. With true understanding, also this energy, this understanding that we're gaining throughout this period of time, these flashes of insight, these revelations, these awakenings, comes humility, and you will do all for the glory of God, and great and wonderful blessings will come to you. So, this is about self-empowerment, but we've got to stay true to ourselves, and we've got to not try to project or be something that we're not. That is not ultimately going to lead us to the place that we're trying to be as this energy unfolds. It's radical authenticity, okay? That is actually where the power is and where it's going to be moving forward with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius now over the next 20 years. But also, as we are transitioning into the age of Aquarius, although we may not be fully immersed in living the age of Aquarius like hardcore everybody right now, we're moving in that direction. Eventually, what's happening now will become that moving forward, and it starts with this radical authenticity. We got to be ourselves, you guys. So that's what I have to say for the month of May. Of course, check back with me on a daily or weekly basis, so that if you want to know about this energy as it's coming through in real time. And thank you guys for being here. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think they would be interested, like this kind of content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I love you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really like knowing how the energy is affecting you alongside whatever's playing out energetically, and your feedback really means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, and Instagram, some other socials in my description box below if you are interested in any of that. And yeah, come back with me, you guys. We have Venus square Neptune to talk about this week. We also have a full moon lunar eclipse that's happening in the sign of Scorpio, and Venus is also entering Cancer. So we got to get into this week 1 of May astrology. I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful day, and until next time, bye.